All right. Thank you, Jameson. I appreciate the introduction. You know what they say about assumptions, and I'm not going to make too many assumptions, but just one. If you're at this conference, you either own gold, think about gold, wish you didn't own it, the way it's performed the last several years, but you understand a little bit about it. And I'm going to try to shed a light on what I think is the most important thing to keep in mind, and it's all big picture. I'm also going to try to talk, if I have time. I've had a lot of requests to mention experience I had in the Montreal airport 6 months ago. If I get to the end and I have enough time, I'll mention it, but by far it was the craziest experience I've had in 26 years of business. Why Miles Franklin? This isn't about patting me on the back. We're very proud of our reputation, incredibly proud of it for that matter, but what I want to explain to you is that this is a federally non-regulated industry, completely into the Wild West. We were founded in 1989. We did, as Jameson just said, eclipsed $5 billion in sales. We have never had one complaint, not one. Search the internet, you will not find it. We maintain an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. We've never lost a package. Most importantly, amongst the things that you're seeing up here, 21 years of experience per broker, one of only 27 companies in the world allowed to work directly with the United States Mint. Storage facilities all around the world. Our most popular storage facility, by the way, is in Montreal with Brinks, Canada. It's the only facility I know of that bills you basis the number of ounces you own instead of the percentage of asset value, and you can send your own metals up there. These are all things that we do, but what differentiates Miles Franklin from every other company in the industry is the state of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota, in their infinite wisdom, has decided that our industry must be regulated. We have a $250 million surety bond in place. We are background checked, we are licensed, and we are bonded as if we sold securities. There are now 11, counting 11 companies that have contacted me and have given me all of their Minnesota clients as they are boycotting Minnesota altogether. The moral of the story is you work with us, not only do we have as fine of a reputation as you will ever find in this industry, all of Rick Rule's brokers run their business through me, every one of them. We have a relationship with Jim Sinclair. We travel all around the country speaking with Jim Sinclair and all of his clientele. And reputation is very, very important in a non-regulated industry, more than you can imagine. In the past 3 years, several of the nation's largest precious metals companies have disappeared with clients' money. Everyone always said to me, Andy, why can't you compete with Hannes Tolving? Because Hannes Tolving just disappeared with $50 million of client money. Why can't you compete with Bullion Direct, Andy? Bullion Direct just disappeared, $30 million gone, vanished. If you focus on price and price alone, you're making an enormous mistake in this industry, 100%. The main thing that I would like to get across, and many of you may be saying, you know, I own gold and silver and it just doesn't make sense to me. It hasn't performed. There are no free markets anymore, people. There's nothing but manipulations. There are no free markets. That doesn't mean you can't win. If you get on the right side of the manipulation, you can win. Big money. Well, let me say this. Since 2008, nothing has made sense to me except this, that big money is suppressing the price of gold and silver, and other commodities for that matter, with levered futures contracts. If I want to buy a 100-ounce gold contract right now to control $125,000, costs me about $3,500. So if I'm a commercial bank with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, it's not real hard for me to affect a perception, to create a new reality by suppressing the market with a tremendous amount of leverage, both counterintuitively to what's happening in the world. I mean, that's really a shocker. You look around and you say, well, how the hell is gold not doing better with what's going on? That's number one. And number two is technically. Let's push it below 50 and 200-day moving averages. Let's get the Harry Dents of the world and all of the technical analysis saying, get out, time to go. Technicals look bad. And then what happens? Oh, it's interesting. J.P. Morgan slides in and amasses 350 million ounces of physical silver, the largest physical position the world has ever seen. Do you hear them talking about it? Probably not. What you hear is them saying that technicals look bad, it's probably not the place to be. Or Goldman Sachs, HSBC Bank, they both took possession of over 5 tons of physical gold into their house accounts last month. So here you have the big commercial banks gobbling up gold and silver in an environment where the West prefers soft gold so as not to shine a light upon the frailty of the US dollar, the world reserve currency, to shine a light upon the poor fundamentals that is our currency. And of course, our neighbors to the east, what do they think? Oh, geez, they think, great, let's scoop it all up at pennies on the dollar, subsidized prices with no competition, because like the no-look pass in basketball, everyone's over here. And JP Morgan, HSBC Bank, Goldman Sachs, the Chinese, the Indians, the Russians, they're gobbling it up at pennies on the dollar, subsidized prices. And that effect has created a crazy thing in my market. If you look at this statement, this is a real fancy way of talking about the laws of supply and demand. It basically says that if the price of something is falling, there's no demand. And if the price is rising, there is demand. And if the price is falling and there's no demand, there should be a plethora of supply. It's not true in my market. In this industry, this law is upside down, completely and totally. As the price has been falling, everything in my universe has disappeared. I'm one of 27 companies in the world who can deal directly with the United States Mint. If I buy Silver Eagles from them in quantities exceeding 25,000, my cost is $405 over spot. I won't get them till November. Now you tell me, is this in an environment where prices are declining? Premiums are going through the roof in just about everything silver and platinum related. Everything. Gold not so much yet, but I expect that to happen. But in terms of silver or platinum, there is an enormous disconnection between the price and the media coverage and the real availability and the real price. Junk silver, been selling that for $5 an ounce over spot. Would have bought it back from you for $4.50 over spot over the last 60 days. They call it junk silver because it's junk, because it's never, I used to buy it at under melt value. My point is something nefarious is happening, or the laws of supply and demand have been completely and totally rewritten. Since 2008, I have felt this way because in 2008, the price of gold went from 1,000 to 700, like that. Silver, 21 to 9. Like that. In 1 week, in July, I was giving a speech with David Morgan in Las Vegas, and we woke up to find the price collapsing. And it was really a scary time. What made it even more scary was within 1 week of that happening, every major mint in the world was sold out of product. Every one. Every major mint. U.S. Mint shut down 8 times in 08. Canadian Mint, South African Mint, Austrian Mint, Australian Mint, gone. Out of product or 12 weeks back ordered. When they finally came back online, Silver Eagles and Silver Maple Leafs were 100% premium to the spot price. None of this made sense to me. How is it that the price of a stock that you buy falls 60% and the other stock falls by 35% and then within 1 week there's none to get? You would think that the market would be flooded. There was nothing. And when they finally came back online, it was common to pay a 100% premium and wait 8 weeks or longer to get your product. And ever since that point, in every speech I've given, in every interview I've given, in every phone call I've talked to people about, it has been that price is misdirecting you tremendously. Think of war. Think of chess. Think of any team sport. Think of finance. Do you tell your opponent, I'm going to run this way now? No, you don't. You fake handoff here and you throw to the wide open receiver in the flat over there because that's what misdirection is. Misdirection is happening in this market, unlike anything I've ever seen, because none of it makes sense. None of it. Supply side. And I'm very high up on the food chain. We will do $300 million in business this year. I work hand in hand with the U.S. Mint, the Canadian Mint, the Australian Mint, all the big suppliers, and they all say the same thing. We've got no product, and if you want it, you got to pay up front. You're not going to get it for weeks. Bottom line is, things are changing. And in my opinion, the lack of physical supply in worthwhile coins will completely define the marketplace before it's all said and done. 100%. We'll define it. What will put me out of business is not government edict. It is not confiscation. If you think they're going to confiscate, I have a different take on that. I think they'll come after your ETFs. They'll come after GLD and SLV. GLD is the 5th or 6th largest stockpile of gold in the world, and SLV the largest. Silver, one of them, maybe second now. Suffice it to say, they can come in on a Friday night and take those two funds, pay you off your cash, and on Monday morning it's in your money market. And they look at the world and say, we didn't confiscate any gold. We didn't activate eminent domain. Heck, all we did was do what the prospectus of these two accounts give us the right to do, and now you can go buy physical gold in this industry. My point to you is that confiscation isn't the issue. That's not what will put me out of business. What will put me out of business is the 5 major mints of the world running out of product. And if it happens now, if it's this hard for me to get product when the average person's never held a gold coin, wouldn't know if it hit them on the foot what it was, what happens when everybody wants it? Honest to God, that is my biggest concern for the future of my business. And it should be for you too. You waiting for that pullback? People in 2008 were waiting for that pullback, found 100% premium and 12-week delivery delays. We are seeing it happen again now. I think the moral of the story is if you want to buy gold and silver, look beyond price, look at fundamentals. Look at the fundamentals of what's in front of us. 1 trillion seconds ago was 31,688 years ago. The numbers are too big. The problems can't be solved. Big money understands this. Big money's in the process of repositioning. So instead of jumping in and gobbling everything up, they misdirect. They have to provide value for their dollars before the dollars collapse. And if they use dollars to short the markets, to accumulate the physicals, how do they get out of that? It's the other pocket filled with treasuries. They will sell treasuries. They will cover their shorts. They'll be out of dollars. They'll be out of paper. They'll own all of the world's commodities at pennies on the dollar, with the rest of us sitting and waiting for that correction. And I think whether you buy from Miles Franklin, hopefully you do, or you buy from anyone else, it is very, very important to act now. I really do believe that it's becoming impossible to get product. And when we look at the difference between now and 2008, I could get nothing. I literally thought we were going out of business because for months on end I could get nothing. And now we see 3 times the production out of the U.S. Mint, and we are still a full 4 to 5 week delivery delay with enormous, ridiculous, monstrous premiums. Who's buying it all? Where is it all going? Why can't we get it? Ask yourself that question. Think misdirection. Things are not transparent in a high-stakes game like this. It's a Super Bowl. They're not going to tell you what they're going to do. They're going to do the opposite. They're going to make you think they're going this way, and they're going to go that way. That I do believe 100%. I will have time, it looks, to do this, and I can answer a couple of questions, but I want to talk about a cool experience I had in the Montreal airport. I think you'll all get a kick out of this. I've been telling my clients for the past 26 years that when you buy gold, it's important to stay away from bars. Buy coins. Brand new bullion coins. American Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, Krugerrands, anything that's, well, not Krugerrands because they're not face value, but Eagles, Maple Leafs, Buffaloes, Philharmonics, that's what you want. It's gold bullion, it's silver bullion, it's vanilla, it's easy, right? So I had a meeting in Montreal 6 months ago. And I met a client there who threw me a curveball. When I saw him, he says, Andy, I'd like you to take these 240 gold Maple Leafs of mine and please bring them to your North Dakota facility. We have a storage facility in North Dakota as well. I said, sure, I'll be happy to do that for you. So will you take them? Will you bring them home tonight? Okay, I said, fine, I'll do that. So I get to the airport. I'm a Homeland Security vetted traveler because of all the traveling I do. I've went in, I met with them, I got the global entry card. So I buzzed right through, and when you come into the United States from Canada, you go through U.S. Customs there. So I get up to the booth, and the gentleman looks at me, and he says, what do you have? I said, I have 240 one-ounce gold Maple Leaf coins. They're $50 face value. However, I'm declaring $12,000. He says, well, he almost fell off his chair. He says, it's well over my pay grade. You're going to need to go to further screening. So he shuts off the red light, turns on the red light, shuts off the light in his booth, walks me out, and we go down. And the only thing that's missing as we're walking down this hall is the John, what's the guy's name? The John Carpenter. The John Carpenter slasher music. As I'm walking down this hall, I mean, literally it's getting darker and darker and deeper until we end up in a room not much smaller than this that was all stainless steel and mirrors. He says, have a seat with your bag. Someone will be with you in a second. I turn around and he's gone. And I'm in there all by myself, and you know they're watching me, and you know they're waiting for me to shove things down my pants. And I'm sitting there for a good 15 minutes. Now, I've done a lot of this before. I've verified it with Homeland Security. I felt confident in my resolve. This is okay. So, Mr. Schectman, what do you have? He comes 10 minutes later. He pops out of this little wall. Door opens, and there he is. What do you have? I said, I have 241-ounce gold Maple Leafs. Look, they're $50 face value. I showed it to him. He says, well, what's gold today? This was 6 months ago. I said, well, currently gold's about $1,200 an ounce. He says, it's about $300,000, isn't it? I said, yes, sir, it is. I said, however, look, it says $50 on the coin. It's legal tender, right? He says, I'm inclined to believe you. In the meantime, give me that coin. I'm going to go disappear behind the wall again and ask my supervisor. In the meantime, you fill out this form, this FENSEN form. Now, when I go in and out of Canada, I've never had to deal with the FENSEN form. I'll bring lots of gold with me, but none of it's ever over 10,000 face. So this is a form you want nothing to do with. Where'd you come from? Where are you going? How much is it worth? How'd you get it? What's your social? What's your bank account? What's your tax ID? Who's your firstborn? The whole nine. It's a very scary form. But I start filling it out and thinking to myself, God, it's not even my gold. And I'm doing this on behalf of my client, but it's my social. Anyways, bottom line is, guy comes back and he says to me, here's your coin back. By the way, Mr. Schectman, how much money do you have in your wallet? And I said, $330. He says, let me see the FENSEN form. I give it back to him. He tears it up. He says, you're free to go. And I said, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but could you please explain to me why I'm free to go? And he says to me, you're free to go because you're right. It is legal tender, and this is Canadian legal tender. Today's conversion rate on that $12,000 puts it at $9,300 plus the $300 in your pocket. You're free to go. Moral of the story, buy gold coins. Don't buy bars. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Buy things that give you liquidity. Maples, eagles, buffaloes, modern stuff from the 5 major mints. You won't be sorry. And please, give us a chance. Rick Rule has, Jim Sinclair has, lots of others have, and we haven't let them down. We won't let you down. Give us a shot to earn your business. Sorry I went over here. Thank you very much. Sorry about that.
Well, our next presenter needs very little introduction. He's been with Stansberry Research from, his newsletter actually preceded my first newsletter with Stansberry Research. That's how long he's been with us. Stan's actually a longtime friend.